Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an exciting edition of Are You In? I've been really excited to talk about this one. I apologize for not putting this out on Sunday. I was working a double and just didn't have enough time to get through it, and didn't get much sleep last night. So I'm going to put it out today, and I'm just really, really excited. I'm going to try to get through everything as quickly as possible, and I've been meaning to talk about this one for about a month now, and I wanted to do this with my brother, but he just didn't have the time to actually listen to this album, so I can't stall anymore. I want to talk about this. So we're talking about A Perfect Circle's newest album entitled Eat the Elephant. Now, if you don't know who A Perfect Circle are, they're an alternative rock slash metal slash art rock band from Los Angeles, California. They're kind of like a super group. At least I know the first three people. Not necessarily sure about the other couple people. But we have Maynard James Keenan. He is the lead vocalist. He also is the lead vocalist of Tool. Then you also have Billy Howardell on lead guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals. And he is also the lead singer of Ashes Divide, which is like another side project of all these bands. Then you have James Iha, the rhythm guitar and backing vocals. You may know him as one of the members of Smashing Pumpkins. Then you have Matt McJunkins on bass and backing vocals, and Jeff Friedel on drums. They're an awesome group. I love this group. I've known about them since like late 2000s, I want to say, when Guitar Hero 4 came out. That's when I started to know Tool and A Perfect Circle. Guitar Hero 4 had Vicarious, Schism, and Parabola on that album. On that game. And I played through them, really liked them, went and listened to the whole entire discography of Tool, listened to the whole entire discography of Perfect Circle, listened to Ashes Divide's only album, and then stayed away from Pussifer because I had no interest in them at all. And still don't, to be fair. So they're awesome bands. I really like their styles, and it's just been sad because we haven't had a new album from either of them in a very long time. With Tool, their last album was 10,000 Days in 2006. You've had three albums with A Perfect Circle, which is Mer des Noms in 2000, 13 Stuff in 2003, and Emotive in 2004. So if you're looking for the last time that they put out an album, technically it's 2004, but that was more of a cover album with reimagining certain songs. So if you're looking for an album with actual real new material, it was 2003. With 13 Steps. So technically, we've been waiting for about 14, 15 years for a new album from them, let alone 12 years now for Tool. So I heard of The Doomed, the first single off this album when it came out last year, and I thought it was really cool, but I didn't want to get my hopes up because I'm not sure if they actually if it's going to be an actual album. I was just worried that they were just putting out a single just to put out a single. Then Disillusion came. It's like, okay, cool. Still no word about an actual album, but I like this one as well. And then Talk Talk came out, and then there's like, okay, we're dropping an album April 20th, which on one point, awesome, we're finally going to get an album, but second, maybe they're doing a 420 joke. So who knows? So finally dropped and finally got to listen to it. And what do I think? Do I think it's closer to like D'Angelo, where he put out Black Messiah in 2013 after 14 years of being gone, and it was amazing? Or is it going to be closer to Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses, where there was a very long hiatus as well, and it was a horrible CD? Who knows? I know. And I'm going to say it's in the middle. I would say it's closer to Black Messiah, though. And there's a bunch of reasons for it. So first off, what I really like about this album is it's a concept album. It's talking about an idea of eating an elephant, or the more common phrase that we know is the elephant in the room, addressing the elephant in the room. And, you know, the idea of there's such a blatant topic that we need to talk about, but we keep pushing it away. Kind of the idea of what eat the elephant is. If I remember correctly, the idea is like, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you start with the first bite. Same thing with how do you address the elephant in the room? You start by saying the first thing, you know, by actually addressing it. And that's kind of the idea of this album. You start with the first song, which is "Eat the Elephant," and he's talking about where to begin, how do we go through this, and you know the words are like, just take a step, just take a bite, just go all in, and it's addressing of what this theme is going to be throughout the album. This is a very political album, and you know, this is one that needs to be talked about. It's a beautiful song. It's mostly just drums, vocals, and piano, which is a very far cry from what you know from previous albums of theirs. But it's not bad. It's a reimagining of what their sound is, and as you'll see, there is sides of the old A Perfect Circle, but then you also get to see what the new one can do, and it's really cool what they can do. It's a beautiful song, very sparse on the instrumentation, and it gives Maynard James Keenan time for their lyrics to flow and move. I really like it. And then we get to Disillusion, my second favorite song on the album. It's a beautiful way of spanning between old A Perfect Circle and new A Perfect Circle. The old A Perfect Circle is like the verses where there's a lot more guitar. There's more sense of drum. You know, Maynard James Keenan's vocals are a little bit more powerful, and it feels like something that would come off of 13th Step, at least in that part. And then you get to the second part of the song, the second idea of the song, and it's more piano and drum, not so much guitar. And the chord progression is D minor, B flat, F major 7. A beautiful chord progression where the music becomes a little bit more sparse, which again gives the time for Keenan's vocals to shine through. And it's in that part where his plea is more imperative. Where this song is talking about the idea of how we use technology and how we interact with social media, and how we need to push back away from that a little bit, to put the silicone reception down and to be one with the people that we have in our life, rather than try to focus on other people in our world through technology. You know. And it's a beautiful song, and his words are more poignant through that slower part. And then it gets back into the old feel, and it's just a really cool song of how it bridges everything together. I personally was on the fence about it the first time I listened to it, but as I keep going through it, I really enjoy it more. Then we have a song called The Contrarian, which is talking about Donald Trump. It's a literal bashing of Donald Trump, and talking about how he used sleight of hand to fool everybody into thinking that he was a good president or stuff like that. And it's just a very sinister sounding song. And it's just, it's an interesting one. And the cool thing about it, not just being sinister, it's very slow in parts. So it gives those lyrics just more emphasis on how much people fucked up, you know? And I just love it, because it's just calling him out so well. So again, we're addressing more and more things. Then we go to The Doomed, which was the first single on the album, and one again that I wasn't sure if I was going to, when I first heard it, didn't enjoy it as much. But then again, I understood then that this was another one of these bridges between the old and the new. This is a very most of the song feels much like in A Perfect Circle, old A Perfect Circle song. It's very heavy. There's some awesome good electric guitar on there, including like this march feel at one point in time, um, and it's very pessimistic in the most part. The idea of what they're bringing is they're taking an ironic take on Christ's Sermon on the Mount, where it's talking about blessed are the meek, blessed are all these people, and instead spinning it on its head and to show what America is now, where blessed are the ignorant, blessed are the gluttonous, the wretched, all these people, and then it'll take a second and have this beautiful little part with like bells and stuff like that. And it's like, well, what about the righteous, the pious, the pure of heart? What about all these people that we need to care about? And eventually, it's like, screw, they're saying that those people are the doomed, and it gets the message becomes even more powerful when we get to the end, where he goes, "Fuck the doomed, you're on your own," and it's kind of like taking a very a very negative look onto what this world is becoming, where who cares about the nice anymore? You have to be this. You have to be like Trump. You have to be racist. You have to be bigoted. You have to be all these things. You have to be greedy. You have to be gluttonous. And who cares about the nice, the pure of heart, all these people? It's a powerful song, and the music of it shows how powerful it is. Because those little parts are a stark contrast to most of the song. So like you have these people being like, "Blessed are all these horrible people," and then what about us? And then like it's a very small little window of like, what about us? And then the other part comes back in with even more power. Just a great way of interpreting all that music. And then we get to my favorite song on the album, which is "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish." Like, I love that line, because it's a reference to A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book, and also a song as well, where the dolphins know that the world is about to end, and if we just had listened to them, we would have understood. But we don't understand dolphin, at least until it's too late, and they start going like, "So long and thanks for all the fish," which I think is a very funny way of signaling what the end is going to be. And this kind of has that tongue-in-cheek a little bit as well, but it's talking more about the idea of we keep trying to spend money on things that we don't need. As they say, time is money and money is time. We waste it every second. And he's talking about, we spend money on plastic surgery, lawyers, shrinks, all these things that we don't necessarily need. And then as the song goes on, he talks about certain people that have lost their lives in the last couple of years. David Bowie, Leia's mom, Muhammad Ali, Prince, Gene Wilder. So all these things we spend so much time on things that we don't need to, while these amazing people keep dying out, and more things keep happening. There's a beautiful, like the chorus itself explains it so well, and I believe it's "Bellissimo, hip hip hooray! What a glorious display! Mine confetti thrown away. What a glorious crescendo," or something like that. And it's just being like the way of like explaining like a fireworks display, but it's not a fireworks display. It's bombs dropping off and everyone's dying. So it's very tongue in cheek. There's a beautiful line of "Ticker tape parade, our hair and skin like Marilyn Monroe in an afterwind." So again, it's talking about we keep trying to keep ourselves young, keep ourselves beautiful, but that's not going to matter when nuclear fallout happens. So a very tongue-in-cheek song, very poppy, but I love it. I love the sound. It's very bombastic. The harmonies are awesome. And just a fun song. My favorite one on the album. So the next one that we have is "Talk Talk." is it's a weird feeling, but it feels a lot like The Outsider in not necessarily in form, but in sound. But it feels a little bit weird sometimes in the way that the lyrics are approached, or the sparseness of the lyrics, or even just what the lyrics mean. This song is talking about shootings, school shootings, and how people are like, "Oh, we don't have time to talk about this, but we send our thoughts and prayers." While more and more people die, though there's some weird words like the idea of cake in a crisis. Not exactly sure. I understand it's like the idea of like something beautiful in a time of crisis, but it just feels weird that they said that. So it's another poignant song, reminiscent of old APC, though it does end a little bit weird, and it feels a little bit weird at times. Not my favorite song on the album, but another poignant one, and another elephant in the room that we need to talk about. The idea of let's stop talking about thoughts and prayers. Let's actually do. Let's take the actions. You know, they another poignant line in there is you talk like Jesus, start walking like Jesus, and it's basically being like, okay, well, we're using prayers and being like, we're going to be holier than thou and be blessed to these people. But instead of doing that, take the actions of Jesus and actually try to help out people. That is an awesome, poignant song. The next one is a little bit weird in terms of how this means into this whole entire album. This one doesn't feel much like the concept. Apparently, it's a song that they had released before, but remastered a little bit. So this is called "Buying Down the River," and another good song. It's a slow song. It bridges the two eras of APC together a little bit, where it starts beautifully like the new era, and then it builds so much through instrumentation and through power, and it gives room for Keenan to talk about what he's trying to talk about, and I believe what he's trying to talk about is a relationship that's maybe going awry, and it's heavy, it's slow, and it gives so much weight to these lyrics. And it's a beautiful one that kind of strays away from the concept, but still one that's needed to be listened to as well. And then we have Delicious, which takes like the idea of Schadenfreude, and just is talking about like how delicious it is that you are suffering through something that you brought onto yourself. And I think it's just another kind of tongue-in-cheek song that feels a lot. It feels a little bit more like old APC in terms of the power, at least at the beginning. And they do align some beauty in there as well. And I just like the music on this song a lot. The chord progression in the chorus, we got a very long one actually. So we got A, E, G, B, B, C sharp minor, E, A, B, A, E, C, B, C sharp, E, B. And just like the way that the melody infuses with this chord progression is very nice. I really like it. And then it changes a little bit into more of kind of like the newer sound of APC. And there's just like this sound that is it's a little bit lighter, but there's still some really cool parts. And this is like the only one where they kind of play with the timing a little bit, and I really like it. In the before this second part, the chorus itself is in 6/8, but then it changes back to 4/4 right at the end of the chorus to bring it back to 4/4 in the verse. And then the second part of it, you have a part that's 40 beats long, but it's separated into 4 parts, and it's divided into 10, 8, 10, and 12, and that keeps repeating. and it's just a really cool idea that keeps building. So it changes from that new APC sound to the old APC sound as the song keeps going on. And I really like it. I also really like how Maynard James Keenan pronounces delicious, which I believe he does delicious. Just like the emphasis of it, like how delicious it is that you are suffering through this. So first half of the album, really, really good. I will say when you get to DLB, which is this interlude that kind of like bridges the two parts of the vinyl. If you were to take the vinyl record, it's after that it gets a little bit weird. I do like DLB, which is Don't Look Back, which keeps changing key centers. You have E, which goes the chord progression goes G sharp minor, F sharp minor, E. Then we go to D flat, which then you have F minor, E flat minor, D flat, and then B flat. So you go D minor, C minor, B flat. So it keeps changing in between the key centers, and like that's nice because I believe on the vinyl this song is in two parts. So like you hear the first part, you flip it over, and then you hear this song in a different key center, and it's definitely analogous to the idea of this is the we can't look back after this. Like this is the turning point. If we don't change everything else that's going on, then you will get what's going to come up next. And I will say, in terms of the next kind of songs, I don't like two of the three that much. They're the weakest songs on the album, but they do paint a grim picture, which is what they're trying to go for. Hourglass is very much like a Pussifer song. I don't like how he articulates I don't like how he sings some of the lyrics. It's really weird at parts, and I do commend it that it's trying to give off this grim nature of like, this is when countdown is going to happen. This is when everything's going to go to shit. And it's kind of fun. It's like but I just don't like the Pussifer sound. And it gets weird in the lyrics a little bit. But the ending's cool. And it's kind of like doing this countdown to detonation, and it keeps building. The music is alright, I just don't like the feel of it. Then we have Feathers, which is the one I actually like, and it's kind of talking about how we all need to stick together if we're going to get through this. Like, are we going to make it through, or are we all going to be feathers, where we all die, you know? Or there's another way of looking at it, as we need to be better in order to get our angel wings or our feathers. And it's another slow song, kind of like Buying Down the River, but it doesn't get as powerful. It does reach a lot of power at points, and there's beautiful harmonies, but it's not the hardest song on the album. Just another all-around awesome song on this album. And then they end very weirdly. Another kind of Pussifer sound, kind of dubstep-ish, well, electronic, if you will. As I said in my sheet that I wrote, you got more Pussifer in my APC, and I'm sad that this is the way that they ended the album, if you will. It's a little bit frustrating because you have this like poignant thing the whole entire album where we're talking about all these things that need to be changed, and they need to be changed soon, or this is what happens. And then it literally Get the Let Out, where he just keeps repeating Get the Let Out, no time to dawdle you, no time to dawdle, you know, we need to do all these things. And I get that's the message of this album. Like, okay, we've pointed out everything, now we actually have to do it. But there must have been a better way of going by, like, approaching this song. This shouldn't be the way that it ends. It's the longest song on the album, and there isn't enough of a change in sound to warrant how long it is. I do like the plucked violin parts, but it's a disappointing way to end the album. But I don't think it destroys the album the way that other people may do. I really like the concept of this whole entire album. I am sad that there isn't as much sound of the old APC, but I do understand it's been 14 years. They've changed their sound. I really like this album. I really like how they approach a lot of the material. I like the tongue-in-cheek nature of some of the songs and the more poignant lyrics of others. I like the melding of old APC and the new APC. There's so much variety on this album that I don't necessarily think of when I think of the other albums. So it shows just how they've changed over time and how they've mastered their sound. And yeah, there are some weak moments, but I think all around this is a very well crafted album, and one that should be listened to APC fans, Tool fans, even if you don't appreciate the softer sound. I think it's an album that's worth listening to for the story, for the message, for the beautiful music, and just to hear APC. It's been a very long time. Like, there aren't a lot of bands that sound like Tool or A Perfect Circle. I've talked about Soen, and it's a very light version of Tool. So if you're looking to fill that APC need, that's what you need to do. You got to listen to this album. I will say, once you get to Don't Look Back, DLB, you may not necessarily need to listen to the Hourglass or Get the Let Out, but I mean, you probably should, because it does add more to this concept, if you will. All in all, really good CD. I don't think it passes The War Volume 1 as my favorite album of the year, but it's definitely most likely going to be in my top 10. It's that good. If you like hard rock, or even just like alternative rock or alternative music in general, I think you will like this. Give it a try. If you like concept albums, give it a try. It's definitely worth your time. So that's my time. I've been hugely excited to talk about this, and I would love to hear what you think about this album if you've listened to it. I was highly anticipating this album, and I don't think it disappoints. Also, like this video if you enjoy what I'm talking about. Comment on albums that you would like me to review. Subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends. All these things. Just keep on keeping on. So Wednesday I'll be back with another album review. Sunday I'll be back with an album review. And Friday I will be back with actually an original song. One that I may or may not have done before. But I feel like it's time to remaster it. So until then, I will see you in the next video. Peace.